every possible variation I'm aware of for how to rig a Senko-style stick bait. 1. Texas rigged. Requires a bullet weight and an EWG hook, which stands for extra wide gap. A versatile, weedless presentation. Common variations are weightless or going heavy with a bobber stop to peg the weight in place and use it as a heavy punching rig for heavy matted vegetation. Usually fished with short hops, dragging, twitching. A less common variation includes attaching a spinner to the worm to add some flash and vibration to the bait. 2. Carolina rigged. Requires a bullet or egg weight, a swivel, and an EWG hook. Gets the weight a little further from your bait for a slightly more natural bait presentation. Fish it along bottom. A common variation is using a Carolina keeper instead of a swivel because then you don't have to tie 3 knots to rig up your bait. 3. Dropshot. Requires a dropshot weight and a hook. A great way to guarantee your bait stays a certain depth off bottom. Common variations include using EWG hooks to be a little more weedless or by threading the worm on a straight shank hook to improve hookup ratios. You can also use a wacky hook to hook it either through the front of the worm or through the middle of the worm wacky style. Cylinder weights for grassy conditions and teardrop weights for rocky conditions. 4. Ned Rig. A finesse presentation that requires a Ned jig head and a shortened stick bait. A great way to size down for those tough bite days. Cut your stick bait between 3 to 4 inches long and butt it up to the shoulder of the jig. It's not as weedless as an EWG hook setup because of the exposed hook. Fish it by popping it along the bottom. 5. Wacky Rig. Kind of goofy looking presentation that hooks a stick bait through the middle with a wacky hook. The most common wacky rig is weightless, hooked through the body of the worm. Variations include using weedless hooks, using 1 O-ring with a parallel hooks it to the body, or 2 crossed O-rings for a firmer connection between the hook and the bait. Some anglers also throw nail weights in the worm to affect the drop rate. Fish a wacky rig slowly by letting it shimmy to the bottom, then pop it a few times to entice strikes. 6. Neko Rig. A cousin to the wacky rig where you install a nail weight in one end of the worm and hop it across the bottom. Common variations include using weedless hooks and changing between hooking the worm parallel or perpendicular to the body. 7. Shaky Head. A finesse presentation meant to keep the bait nearly vertical as you drag it across bottom. You need a shaky head jig in your stick bait. Fish the jig by maintaining consistent bottom contact. Let me know in the comments which one is your favorite or if I missed any.